Hey everybody, how's everybody doing tonight? You guys, somebody give me a 5x5. Anybody? Must be a big delay. Can you guys see and hear us okay? Okay, there we go. Thank you, man. I thought maybe I done messed it up all over again. All right, let's see who all's with us tonight. We got Mame's Legacy, Mrs. Prepping Plumber. Let's see. Man, y'all been chatting it up. S.J. Mullins, hello. I think it's just about there before. Prepper Steady, or Prepper Steading. I'm sorry.
There he is.
Hey, Mr. Papa Ghost Prepper sent me, so I sub. Well, thank you very much, both of you. Appreciate that. And everybody, welcome tonight, Widgets World, Papa Prepper, Keto Homestead. Good to see
There
you.
she is. Hey,
She knows,
Jess.
she knows her stuff.
Yeah, I'm on with her tonight at 10 o'clock.
Really.
Yeah, I'm doing double duty.
Right on. Independent Marine 3522. Hello. Good to see you guys. Skid Kid. That's a new name. Thanks for coming. I like that name. I like Ghost Prepper too. That's a pretty bad name. That's
Thank
like
you.
a kind of reminds you of Ghost Rider, like a comic book kind of name. I like it. So anybody that don't know, this is my special guest. This is Ghost Prepper. He's been around on YouTube for a long time. Uh, been prepping for even longer. um, you guys probably seen him all out through everybody's live streams and whatnot, but he's just started his own channel and he's making really good content. He could really use the subs. If you guys would please go check him out and subscribe. Like I said, you won't regret it. And he's making really good videos. So, Ghost Prepper.
Yes, sir.
So, well, just go ahead and you want to tell them about your channel and tell them a little bit about you and how you came into prepping and everything.
Uh, well, I was prepping before that word was famous. I didn't know I was prepping. I just thought it was being normal. I mean, I grew up on a farm. Little, we had horses and chickens and cows and ducks and pigs and turkeys and a big old garden, and we'd work in the garden all summer. And we'd canned food and had root crops and stuff in the root cellar, and we'd slaughter a hog, slaughter a cow every year. We salted our own meat, did everything, and that was just normal to me. And then I grew up, got out of school, joined the army, went all over the world a few times. Uh, Tried the marriage thing, that don't work, and then then the prepping to me is just normal. I mean, some people may agree, some people may disagree, but I take it pretty serious. It's I mean, in my opinion, if you're a family or even a single parent and you got kids and you don't have enough food and supplies put away for an extended period of time, I mean, my personal opinion, that's almost a form of a neglect or abuse. I mean, that's your main mission, is to make sure not just tomorrow, but several days down the road. So I got into prepping. Started watching YouTube channels for the last couple 3 years. All the big ones. I mean, I know pretty much everybody. I just never really put my name out there. That's how I got the name Ghost Prepper, when I was trying to figure out what my handle should be. And I've been in everybody's rooms for years now, just kind of like a ghost in the room. So that, plus it sounds like really super cool. So I went with that.
I like that.
So I went with that, and then uh, 2 weeks ago, Monday, when Prepper Tribe did his first early morning show, 7 a.m. Vibing with Tribe. There was a question asked. Somebody asked in the comments, and I'm like, man, I know the answer to that. And I ain't gonna lie, I've been up all night. I had a pretty good buzz, and I sent Nisi a message. I'm like, I got something I want to say. And she let me get on there. That's how it started. And Tribe's like, man, you need to do your own channel. So that following Friday, last Friday, Valentine's Day, I started a channel. So I've been trying to get content up and get things rolling ever since. It's been fun.
It is. It gets time consuming.
It does. It really, especially when you don't know what you're doing. I mean, it takes me forever to do a video, but I'm figuring it out.
Yeah, it's easy to do videos like on your computer and post them if that's all you want to do. But when it comes to editing, I cannot edit on the computer to save my life. So I have to go to my phone, and it takes forever to process, and it takes forever to upload. And it's nothing to have 2 or 3 hours in a 20-minute video,
Yeah, it's like I was telling you earlier, it took me about 3 hours to do that 2-minute video montage slideshow of my aquaponics system in Florida, just because I'd never done one before. It took me forever to figure that out. About at least 2 hours to get a 2-minute little video up there, but it looked good when it was done. It was worth it.
Yeah, I'd like to try aquaponics.
Man, it's therapy. Like, it's almost as therapeutic as canning. It's fun. You have to stay involved because you got the fish you got to take care of and the plants, but you got to do them at the same time. It's like a balancing act. If one gets too far to the left, the other one will die. So you really got to pay attention. But once you figure it out, you can walk outside and look at the color of the leaves of your plants, and hey, my fish are healthy, or hey, my plants are healthy by the way the fish are acting. It's pretty fun. Plus, it's some of the best fish I've ever eaten in my life.
I'm sorry.
It's on the slideshow. It shows a couple of tilapia that I raised and I ate, and it showed the fillet and everything. I mean, they were 15 inches long. They were less than a year old, and I grew them from fingerlings, from itty bitties. All natural, no pesticides, no hormones, no nothing. All they eat was all natural fish food and greens out of the garden. I'd pull off a collard leaf and throw it in there because they eat everything. They're omnivores. They eat plants, they eat meat, they eat each other, they eat the fish food. They're really easy to take care of.
Now, when it comes to the aquaponics, it's tilapia, because I know a lot of people use tilapia. Is that the best, or can you do like catfish and stuff like that, or bluegill, or?
A lot of people choose tilapia because they're like the Mike Tyson of the fish world. I mean, you literally got to kill them 3 times to kill them. I mean, they're tough. I mean, they're tough. That's the reason why I chose them. Plus, at the time, I was living in Florida, and it's a really warm climate, and I could raise them year round. Now up here, now that I'm in North Carolina, I'm probably, when I do my new system, I'm probably going to do probably catfish, some local fish from around here. I may actually cycle through some tilapia through the warm months because, I mean, if you feed them really good and heavy, you can grow them out in, 8 to 10 months, and there'll be plenty enough warmth to do that. I mean, if I have to, I'll put the tank in my basement and just pipe the water out back for the plants. But that's on the burn. That's on my plans, is building that system, and then also doing my meat rabbits.
Now, okay, I'm obviously very interested in the aquaponics. Now, when you do that, can you use like is there any? Because I apologize, I haven't seen the video yet, but when you go to do it, can you use like one of the garden pond type inserts like you can buy at Home Depot? Like, will that work, or does it have to be certain particular kind of equipment? Or
when I first started watching the videos about 3 years ago, I didn't, because half the stuff people put on YouTube is horseshit, and then half of it's legit. So I always try to test things out. And the first system I built, no bullshit, on the slideshow, I think it's the second slide, you can see in the background, in the back of the yard, there's a 55-gallon drum, dark green, and some 5-gallon buckets beside it. That was my first system. I actually had the fish in the 55-gallon drum, and I was pumping the water through 5-gallon buckets. And it worked really well. And I was like, well, shit. So I decided to build a big one and go into production. And, there's a huge learning curve to it. It's like I could tell you every single thing, how to do it, how I did it, and it won't work for you.
Right.
each person's got to kind of put their own little twist on it, and they got to figure out the niches. I mean, because you got to test the water, you got to look at the temperature, the pH, things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it, and maybe. But I mean, you'll see when you look at the video. There's one picture of the collard greens, and those things from where the roots started to the head of the collard were over 9 feet in length. And I was eating collards from the same plants for 11 months. I was growing them in the middle of the summer, and collards are a cold weather plant, and they were as dark green as you can imagine, and they were delicious. I actually had to take my sawzall and cut the stems to get them out. The stems on this collard were that big around.
Wow.
And the reason I had to take them out was because they were breaking my tank. They were so heavy, it was breaking all the stuff on the inside. Or they'd still be growing now. I had a tomato plant that was in there for 14 months. One plant.
Man, I've got to get into that. I've got to at least try it.
It's fun. I'm telling you, it's fun. It's fun.
I'm gonna jump over here and say hi to some more people that's come in.
Yeah.
East Kentucky, hello, Chris Kaufman. How's it going, brother? Literally, that's my brother. Michigan Outpost 231. Hey, Papa, what other name can I use besides Papa for you? You can call me Tommy or T. It don't matter, man. I get it. It's awkward. Let's see. Anna W., hello. Good to see you. End of days prepper. How's it going? Good to see you. Nicole Leith, hello. Susie D., Cheryl Zeman, Be Charming. Good to see you guys. Sarah Hancock, thanks for coming. Said she just subbed to Ghost. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
RSD Prepper, good to see you. Hope you're having a good night. Nisi Tribe, uh-oh. Oh, there's Prepper Tribe. He's here. Jefferson Martial Arts, good to see you. We're getting quite a crowd in here. Sweet. Robinson, hello. Hoot Owl Holler, how's it going? Good to see you. Don Belliman, hello. Good to see you. Northern Girl Hobbies, how's it going?
Northern Girl.
Big B Preps, hello. Green Thumb Prepper, now that's my boy right there. Sean M., have you went and subscribed to Green Thumb Prepper? Man, he's good. He's just starting just like you did, and I had him on a couple of weeks in a row on Saturday nights, and man, he knows his stuff when it comes to gardening, let me tell you.
What I do, every time somebody subs to me, I turn right back around and sub to them, even if they ain't got a channel. So,
yep. Laura N. says she's just lurking in the background. Hello, good to see you. CC Collins, Sparky's Run, hello. Lady Catherine, hello. Glad you all can make it. The Ugly Prepper, hey, brother. Hope your leg's doing good. Get you back in the game soon. The Ugly Prepper, have you seen his channel yet?
Who is it?
The Ugly Prepper.
No, I haven't.
He just started out, was doing great, making real good content, and he broke his leg.
Oh,
so
shit.
He's kind of been out of the game. So I'm hoping he gets back up and around pretty soon.
Definitely.
He says he's getting better, so that's good. All right. So where were we?
We just finished, we were talking about aquaponics.
Yeah. So I've always been interested, but I haven't really read a lot. And because a lot of things kind of, if I don't know somebody that's done it, I find a lot of things that are like, I don't know if I could try that or not, you know?
Yeah. Well, the thing about aquaponics, if you're going to try to do that, go ahead and accept the fact that you're going to kill some fish.
Right.
Period. You're gonna lose some fish, but you're gonna learn from that. And you know the thing is, you're gonna put a whole lot more effort into doing aquaponics than you ever will doing a garden, mentally, not the physical part, because it's easy. Once you get it going, you don't got to do it. There's no weeds, you know, none of that. You just walk outside and rip off a sprig of celery and bring it inside and eat it, or you know, collard greens or tomatoes or any kind of leafy greens. Leafy greens do real well. Lettuces, things like that, they do real well. You know, the fruit and stuff's kind of tough.
So am I right when like the dirt and whatever from the plants feeds the fish, and then the
way it works, like
the waste fertilizes the plants?
Yeah, the way it works, like a short version, there's a couple different methods. You can either use a grow media, and it's little round clay pebbles. They just offer support to the roots, and they hold the bacteria inside. They're real. It's almost like lava rock. And then you can use the floating raft method, where the plants just sit in a net cup, and the roots dip down into the water. There is no dirt whatsoever in aquaponics. And then what it is you feed the fish. The fish excrete ammonia through their gills and their urine and their feces.
Mm-hmm.
That gets pumped through to the plant water. The plants take up the nutrients, and what happens is there's naturally occurring bacteria everywhere around you. And it takes about 2 weeks for the bacteria to get in your system real good. But the bacteria, they convert the ammonia from ammonia to nitrites, and nitrites is deadly, so is ammonia. And then there's a second bacteria called nitrobacter that converts the nitrites into nitrates. Nitrates is the stuff that the plants need.
Right.
So what happens is when they pull the nitrates out, it cleans the water, and then that water just recirculates back to the fish. It's a closed loop system. So once you have the right amount of fish and the right amount of plants, it just takes care of itself. Now, if you have too many fish and not enough plants, your plants are going to die and your fish are going to die. So it's kind of like a balancing system. Like my fish in tilapia, when they have babies, they'll have 1,000 at a time. I mean, they have a lot of them. So I had to add external filters that I made myself. And that's when I planted a whole bunch of tomatoes, because tomatoes suck up the nutrients. So they can take up a whole lot of the nitrite, so you don't get a lockout and kill your fish. But it's stuff you learn as you do it. And it's crazy fun. It's like working on a car.
All right. Now, how do you acquire?
Order them online and mail them right to your house.
Because I seen where I'm getting a bad echo for some reason. Huh. Well, it was.
Yeah, you order them online, they mail them right to your house. And like say, if you order 25, you'll usually get like 35, because a couple die on the way. But I mean, when I say they're small, they're not even a 1/4 inch long. I mean, they're itty bitty. They're only a few days old.
Did you see where the USPS and everybody, they're not going to be shipping any more live chickens or anything like that?
I did not.
I'm guessing it's just while this weird winter weather is going. I guess they were losing a lot of livestock, like just from shipping.
Well, this Texas thing, anybody that had stuff in the mail in Texas, that stuff died in transit.
Right. I subbed to Ghost Prepper, interested in his aspect. Yeah, that's what got me right away. I watched his first video and it's like, man, he shoots from the hip. He's honest. He keeps it real.
Like my point of view, the way I prep, like I'm a big fan of Angry Prepper.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big fan of Tribe, because I don't pull no punches. I'm a Gemini. I tell you like it is from my point of view, because guess what? I ain't being greedy. It's just the only point of view I have. These 2 eyes are the only 2 I got. I can try to see it. I can empathize with other people's point of views, and I watch different ways to do things, and I'll pick and choose what I think works, or I'll try all 3 different ways, figure out which way works, and tweak it for me. But it's like my videos and the content I put out. I'm not trying to tell somebody, hey, this is the only way you should do it, or this is the best way. I'm just saying this is how I do it, and it works really well for me. And this is why I do it this way. It's like today, or I tried to make a video today expanding on my canning and how I put my food up, like with the dry beans and rice. I used to store my dry beans and rice long term in mason jars, right, and I'd vacuum seal them. And then I got to thinking, especially when the pandemic hit, I'm like, man, those jars, I've got stuff in those jars that can store just as long, if not better, in Mylar.
Right.
I took all my dry beans and rice out, and I put those in Mylar, and then I took several 100 pounds of beans and I cooked them and put them in the jars. Because my whole point for canning in jars is that I can open up one jar and eat it. I don't even have to heat it up. It's already cooked. But if I've got that jar full of dried beans, I got hours in prep time plus water needed to make it edible. So that's a little bit extra work for me. So I like things streamlined. I want to make it as simple as possible.
Absolutely. This will be my first year. My wife, for Valentine's Day, she got me a water bath canner and all the utensils and a big ball cookbook or recipe book for canning. So this is going to be my first year
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and give a shout out to one of the first channels I watched, and it's not a prepper channel. It's more of a homesteading channel. It's Guildbrook Farms, Guildbrook Farms. That woman taught me everything that I didn't know about canning, and she's got her directions are better than the ball canning book. Seriously, like I mean, she is amazing when it comes to canning. She does everything. So if you're interested and you're just getting started, click over to that channel and go to her canning 101 video. And she, man, it's like A, B, C, D, E. And she shows you the entire process. It's amazing.
I'm going to ask, can you say that again so maybe one of my moderators could throw up her link?
Guildbrook, Guildbrook, one word, Farms.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Big B Prep says it's just UPS now because USPS still sends live animals. Have to pick up same day, will not deliver to home. Okay, thank you.
That's good to know.
Yeah, because I thought it was USPS as well. So I stand corrected. Thank you, sir or ma'am.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, canning is like that's like religion to be a prepper. Once you start canning, automatically your confidence in your food stores and your knowledge base goes up tenfold. The first load of food that you can, it's like meeting some famous person and getting an autograph. It's like
Right.
You just sit back and look at those jars on the counter for hours. You can't wait to pop one open and test it out. I mean, I'm eating stuff that I personally canned 3.5 years ago, and I can everything. Every time I go in the grocery store, I see food. I go, can I can that? I'm gonna try it.
Right. And here this past year, watching a lot more of the homestead, type channels, there's stuff that I didn't even know you could can until I've seen it on these people's channels. Just a lot of different things.
I mean, I've canned all kinds of stuff.
Hold on, I'll just throw this question up here for you.
No, I initially, and I know this may sound harsh, but when I first decided to do aquaponics, there's two challenges: the fish and the plants. I could just focus on keeping one side alive and say, not worry about the other one, and kind of cut down my mental headaches a little bit. So initially, I didn't care if any one of the fish lived because they're so cheap. I mean, they're literally like 2 cents a piece. They're dirt cheap. You pay more in shipping than you do for the fish. So initially, it was just I didn't care if the fish lived. I just wanted to raise the plants. But once you get it started and you get your system level, they take care of each other.
Now, say you're talking about that 55-gallon drum. About how many fish is suitable for something that size?
I wouldn't do any more than 10. I mean, you can literally just use goldfish, like pet goldfish, and they'll do your plants and never eat the fish. But I wanted to.
I'd be okay with that because here at home, I'm the only one that really eats fish. So just to have goldfish like that, but then, every year, well, I guess you could get like a trough heater or something to drop in there in the winter, maybe. Would that be warm enough to keep them alive?
Yeah, that's what I did the first winter down there is I just put some of those little tank heaters in there. But the thing is, you can literally just put a net cut. You can get a piece of styrofoam and have the roots sticking down into your aquarium inside your house as long as it's getting sunlight, and you can grow lettuce and stuff right on top of your 10-gallon fish tank.
That's
like
cool.
Stuff like that.
I'm guessing Brandon from KC28 is asking if you make your own.
I have never done that. I've always wanted to. I've always wanted to make it, but I never have. I have plenty of it stored, but I've never made it. The easiest thing and the funnest thing to can is chicken, because anytime you can something, it's going to lose, especially meat. It's going to lose a little bit of the texture. Like when you can ground beef, it's still ground beef. It's still nutritious. It still tastes like ground beef. Hey, Gina, it still tastes like ground beef, but it loses a little bit of the texture. But so if you use it in stuff like, Rotel cheese dip and stuff, you really can't tell. But chicken stays exactly the same. Chicken is delicious. It's the best meat in the world to can is chicken. I haven't done rabbit yet. As soon as I get my rabbits going, I will. Butter's next on my list. Ghee, Ghee. That's next on my list is butter. I have done milk. It turned out perfect. Milk was actually really, really easy.
Kimberly checking in from Ohio. Hello. Thanks for joining us.
Ohio.
Well, where'd that go? David Green says, I'm canning milk right now.
It's super easy.
Huh. So I see, I didn't can milk.
Actually, you can double. Like when you can milk, you do a gallon of milk, you get 4 quarts canned, evaporated pressure, canned milk. And to bring it back to being regular milk, you just mix it 50-50 with water and stir it up. It doesn't taste exactly like the milk you get at the grocery store, but it's still suitable for cereal or anything else. I mean, it's milk. So you're actually doubling your volume.
That's cool.
Yeah, milk was super easy.
Oh, man.
I was kind of weary at first. After I did it, I waited a week and then I popped the jar out and tasted it. And it tasted just like evaporated milk. It's awesome. I'll grab a can of potatoes that I've canned. I'll drain them, put them in a pot with some butter and some evaporated milk that I canned or canned milk that I did. It's the best mashed potatoes I've ever had. It's like really, really good.
When you said that you opened up your jarred beans and put them in Mylar, I guess depending on how long they've been in the jar, does that affect them at all when you open them and switch them to something else, or is that okay?
The thing about beans and rice and even pasta, that stuff, as long as it doesn't get wet, it's going to be around for a long, long time.
Right.
My process for beans and rice, dried beans and rice, is I get the big bags, 20, 30, 40, 50 pound bags. I bring them home and I've got a big chest freezer. 2 of them actually. One of them is just for rotating beans and rice. Like I'll bring in 200-300 pounds of beans and rice and I'll put them in the freezer and they'll stay there for a minimum of 72 hours.
Right. That
freezing process kills all the larvae, all the bugs, all the eggs. A lot of people don't know this, but when you're eating beans and rice, you're eating bugs. They're just dead. You cook them. It's just extra protein. Big deal.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know when you eat chocolate. There's actually an acceptable FDA amount of bug parts in chocolate.
Yeah, I've read that list before, and it's kind of gross.
It is. You read it.
Especially like a can of mushroom caps or whatever. They're allowed I don't know, it's like 15%, 12%, something like that.
More than you think. More than you would think.
Oh, yeah.
I freeze them all for at least 72 hours. You can leave them in there for 2 months and it ain't going to hurt them. I freeze them for at least 72 hours. I pull them out and I sit them on the counter. I spread them out and I let them dry and I let them come back to room temperature for a minimum of another 48 to 72 hours before I store them. When I was doing them in the jars, I just sanitized the jars. I cleaned them really good and then I heated them up and dried them, make sure there was no moisture at all. I put them in the oven. And then I put them in there and I vacuum sealed them with a brake bleeder, just so that way if power was out, I knew how to do it without power. They worked great. All the seals were insane. The seals were so good, I literally couldn't pop. Usually I can grab it, the corner with my fingernails and pop the lid off. I had to use a butter knife. I actually ruined those lids because the seal was insane. It was nuts. And doing them in the Mylar, when I do Mylar, I do the oxygen absorbers and I vacuum seal them as well with a vacuum cleaner and a straw from McDonald's. And they're hard as a brick and they're going to last for 20, 25 years. As long as you keep them, all my food I store out of the light. I try to keep it climate controlled. That's why I got a house with a basement. I keep it in the dark and, that maximizes their longevity and the nutrition because anytime you get ambient light from the sun on canned food in a clear jar, it doesn't make a lot of people think it makes the food go bad. It doesn't make the food go bad. What it does is it increases the deterioration of the nutrients in the food. So It's still good. You just won't maintain the nutrients. And a lot of people on your canned food in your cabinet, when you flip it over and you see the best by date, it doesn't say expiration date. It says best by. Okay.
Absolutely.
Best by just means that's the amount of time they have assumed, they set up a day that says, 18 months after we can it, it's going to start to deteriorate in nutrients. And I mean deteriorate by a fraction of a percent.
Yeah, very slowly.
I mean, I know people that have eaten canned food that best by date was 10 years and it's still edible. Now, it may not have all the essential nutrients, but you can still eat it and it helps sustain life.
Definitely better than the alternative of starving to death.
Exactly. That's why I love the canned meat, because meat, the date on meat, that's the expiration date. You need to go ahead and either freeze it or can it.
Right.
And the thing about the price, and I tell a lot of people, you're never going to pay less for food than you are today. It's not going to do anything but go up.
Absolutely.
So, if you go out and get 500 pounds of meat and can it, you just save a crap load of money.
Especially I was telling my wife, we went out today just kind of looking and picking up a few things. And I was reading, excuse me, with this whole, the Texas, everything, that they're our main supplier of oranges, strawberries. And I guess they lost the majority of those crops through all this. There were several heads of cattle and chickens they lost just because they froze to death because they're not used to that. So I have an idea that probably not even halfway through this week, we're going to see even another big price hike.
Well, what's going to happen? What's going to happen is the food chain is a nationwide machine. So now there's a huge hole in that food chain in Texas. So I mean, they destroyed pretty much all their milk. Their production went crap because they had nowhere for it to go, and a lot of their dry goods and stuff that didn't get shipped. I mean, you may actually see an influx of products from other parts of the country going in there to offset that loss. And I saw that post for Gina. I think it was Gina HT. I'm gonna get that video up as quick as I can.
Have you ever done this?
Deer meat is amazing. The good thing about a canning process on gamey meat like deer and rabbit and things like that is actually, if you cook it wrong, it makes it really tough. As long as you've got a little bit of fat in there with it, and the moisture content is right, it actually, man, deer meat is really good when it's canned. I mean, it's really good.
I've never had it canned. I love it. I love it just out of the freezer and cooked, but I've never had it canned.
Low and slow is the way I cook it, I've had it canned. I've never actually personally canned it myself. My uncle cans quite a bit, and that's the first time I had it was when he canned it, and it has a different texture, but it's in a good way because it softens it up quite a bit.
Do you make your own like sausage and brats and stuff like that?
Never have done that. I've never done it. I've always wanted to. I've never done that. I can a lot of them, but I've never done that. I would like to. I like to get that little machine and do the whole sausage thing. That would be kind of fun. I know
definitely interesting.
That's like his wind down is to come home and make sausage and smoke them and stuff like that. But I've never done that yet. I do so many different things. It's hard for me to do all the stuff that I want to do.
Bob Bissell or Bissell, I'm not sure how to say your name, sir, but says may see cheap beef in short term because they had to butcher early. Now that is a good possibility. All the cattle that they did lose, I mean, they may just have to cut it up and get it out, and then there will be an overabundance for a moment.
If they can get the roads clear enough to get that meat to the processing plant, because they can only. I mean, we don't have the roadkill laws on them dying in the field, so they've got a certain amount of time. I don't think the plants can legally take it if it isn't dispatched at the plant. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think it has to be dispatched at the plant if it's a commercial process.
I have no idea about that. Hey, Elusive Prepper, thanks for coming. Did you see? I think it was Grim. And this has, I mean, it's kind of off subject, but he's talking about since it, they have to dispose of it or whatever, where the cops were having to guard those dumpsters at the grocery stores because they were throwing the food out, and there was nothing wrong with it. Just people starving, trying to get that food. Man, that has to be probably the saddest thing I've ever heard of or seen in my life.
stupid bullshit laws, because and it's all with the FDA and stuff, because they're legally responsible if somebody gets sick because that's their product. Even though technically when you put something in the garbage, it's public domain. But
Yeah.
since it's a food product and it's technically on their property because that dumpster's behind the building, not at the curb, not at the edge of the street, it's technically not public domain. But and if somebody went in there and got it and got sick, they could technically sue them. So that's the whole reason. Killed a raccoon. As soon as I get my rabbits here, I will. But I mean, skinning an animal, a lot of people think it's a big process. It really ain't. I mean, lop the head off, hang it upside down, bleed it out, skin it, open the inside really easy, get rid of the gallbladder without contaminating the meat, pull the guts out, and then all you got to do is follow the joints, the ball and socket joints with a sharp knife, pop it loose, and you're gold.
Yep. No matter the size of the game, it's all the same thing.
The key to doing it right is if it was already dead, it really ain't up to you. But I mean, if you're dispatching it yourself, it's doing it as quickly and humanely as possible, not to put fear in the meat. Flip it over and let it bleed out.
Do you know how to tan and all that stuff?
Never done that. And I was thinking about getting into it with the rabbits, but I'm going to dispatch them at such an early age. The skin's not going to be really thick enough to do anything with the hides. Now, some of the older rabbits, like the breeder rabbits that make it, a year or two, they'll be plenty thick enough. I may actually consider doing that. But for the meat rabbit production part of it, because they'll be dispatched within 12 to 14 weeks of being born, the skin's just too thin. I mean, literally, when you skin it, you can just poke a hole with your finger and just rip the skin and just pull it right off. It's pretty cool.
Can you raise cats and tilapias together? Has been asked a few times. I'm sorry, I didn't see it, guys. Watch.
I wouldn't see why. I mean, you have to have a lid on your fish tank with tilapia because they will commit suicide. They will jump straight out of the tank, man.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about like feline cats, or are they talking about catfish?
Catfish and tilapia, yeah. It's actually a good thing to have catfish in.
They eat all the nasties.
Yeah, catfish clean all the algae, but so do the tilapia. Tilapia eat algae too. So if you get algae growth in a tank with tilapia, it's really not that bad. It's extra nutrition. Other fish, it can be bad. You definitely need a catfish in there. But my first batch in the 55-gallon drum, I had 2 channel cats in the bottom.
Nice. I'm echoing again. Oh, it went away. Never mind. Big Bear Preps. Local store has hamburger on sale, $1.99 a pound, going tomorrow.
Load up.
No doubt. That's a gold mine.
Load up. And that.
Looking for a few more questions here. SoFlo Prepper, what's up? Thanks for coming.
SoFlo, what's going on, brother?
How big is your tank at present?
Well, the tank I had in Florida, I sold. Here's a good story. The house that I sold in Florida, because I bugged out from Florida and came back to North Carolina, I actually increased the asking price of the house by $15,000 because of the aquaponics system. And a bidding war actually broke out between 3 different people looking at buying a house over it with the aquaponics system. And I actually got $25,000 over asking price because of the aquaponics system in the house. I sold my house, and from the time it hit the market to the time I said I'm selling to this guy was 18 hours. But literally, it went online on Zillow at like 7:45 at night, and by 9:30 I had like 6 appointments to view the house. But yeah, it was a mature aquaponics system, and I mean I got $25,000 for the fucking aquaponics system. I may have had $500 in it.
Nice.
But the tank itself, it was 3 275-gallon IBC totes. One of them was just full of fish, and the other 2 were chop and flip, cut in half. And I had sump tanks underneath them. So I had water-wise, I probably had 5 to 6 gallons. 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 5 to 600 gallons of water flowing.
I'm definitely interested. I mean, I'm gonna definitely start out on a smaller scale, but
I mean, if I had to do it over again, the 55-gallon drum and the 5-gallon buckets, it was a huge pain in the ass. And a lot of those fittings you can't reuse. I just go ahead and get an IBC tote and do it that way. I mean, you get one of those for anywhere from 50 to $100, and just do a simple chop and flip. You know, you can have the fish and the water on the bottom and the plants on the top. Mine was 3 different IBCs side by side, daisy chain, and then I eventually had a rail system down the side of my porch. I didn't have any pictures of that, but I would go ahead and do the chop and flip IBC. There's a guy on YouTube now. It's called Rob Bob's Aquaponics, ROBBOBS Aquaponics. He's an Australian dude. He's the cat that got me into it. He's got some really detailed videos. He's got a serious Australian accent, but he knows what he's talking about. His stuff works, and he's got a really good video on how to take one IBC tote and turn it into a complete system for $150, including the IBC tote and the fish.
nice. Independent Marine. He said he lives right on the North Carolina, South Carolina line.
That's where I'm at.
He asked what part of North Carolina do you live? I don't know if you want to be more specific. Probably not.
I'm near Rockingham.
There you go. Sorry, I got to share this.
Oh, here we go. I'm looking to rehome a Yorkie, full-blooded. If there's, let me know. I'll jump the neighbor's fence and get it.
Oh man, I love that dude. All right, so I guess we've better get back on the. Well, I mean, all this we've talked about is prepping, you know, basically. Oh, hey, Metal, for breakfast. I didn't see you come in.
Hey, Metal.
He does have a question, or she.
What do you grow on the top of the IBC tote? Anything you want. I mean, you can't do root vegetables. You can't do root crops. You don't do carrots and potatoes and stuff like that.
Right.
If you're going to do aquaponics, focus on the leafy greens, the lettuces, the collards, celery, things like that. They grow phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. All your herbs. Basil, if you're going to do basil in aquaponics, go ahead and plan on having to tear that entire system down every year, because basil grows like a weed. It will take over and kill everything. So if you're going to grow basil, I suggest doing it in a 5-gallon bucket off to the side and just, you know, pouring the fish water in there with it, because I did it once and I'll never do basil again, not in the system. It's insane, unless the only thing you're growing in that tote is basil, because it's nuts. But you can do anything, man. I mean, I grew stuff in there you're not supposed to grow in there. I did cucumbers, tomatoes, eggplants, you name it. I mean, peppers. Your peppers don't do very well in there, which shocked me. I thought they would. I've done them in aquaponics and I've done them in hydroponics. And peppers are just one of those kind of plants that really likes to be in the dirt. You know, peppers just like the dirt. So I'll just stick with the dirt when it comes to peppers. Beans, good. Green beans. And there's another prepping tip for you guys. When I was putting my beans that I took out of the jars and doing them in the Mylar, I took 2 beans out of every bag of the different brands. I had like 6 brands: Pintos, Limas, everything. Green beans, navy beans, Great Northern. And I took 2 beans from each one. I had 6 different kinds of beans, and I seeded them in a half of a egg carton container. So I had 2 of each bean in there with regular potting soil, a little bit of water in my garage with a grow light, and every single bean came up in 3 days. And these are beans straight from Walmart that you eat.
Nice.
So the good tip for preppers is, you know, be able to grow your preps. I mean, all those dried beans that you got stored up, those are potential plants. You know, there's part of your seed vault right there, and they grew they literally came up a couple days ahead of time. And I mean, every single bean sprouted, every one.
That's nice. One thing that I was going to share, and I forgot this morning, and then you just said that, it reminded me. I don't know about everywhere, but If you guys are looking for heirloom seeds, Home Depot just put all theirs out in my area, and they actually have a very good variety of heirloom seeds right now. They're like $2.98 a pack, but I mean it's heirloom seeds. They're going to pay for themselves every year. So if you guys are interested, in my area anyway, they just came out and there was a bunch of them. So
And
you
there's
might
another
like that.
another good tip for preppers too is when it comes to seeds, don't just rely on the bag full of heirlooms. I've got no bullshit, no crap aside. I've got probably a couple 100,000 seeds stored. Um, but if you really want to be proficient in your seeds, instead of just getting a bunch and storing them, learn how to save your seeds. And you can get all that information from some of these homestead channels, man. They really go into detail about, actually, there's one channel, I can't remember the name of it, but she tells you how to store all the seeds from melons, from everything. And if you haven't tried this brand of tomato, it's the only one I'll grow anymore. Maybe not the only one, but it'll be mostly is the Cherokee Purple.
Yeah, I've got some.
That is the ugliest, best tasting tomato you will ever eat. I mean, first time I had one of those, I'm like, I'm done. That's all I want. I mean, it's awesome.
I've got some Cherokee. Cause see what I done this year, because I've got a bunch of stuff started indoors. So I just used like Dollar General, Walmart, Jace, just regular old, seeds, the cheap ones,
Right.
$1.50 a pack. Because I've never done this indoors, you know. So I've still got a big, whatever they call it, survival garden thing
Yeah,
back in.
I saw your video with your cardboard and stuff. That's a pretty neat trick. Here's one for you. I grew, just to show you how good the aquaponics works. And if you don't believe me, when I do my canning video, I'll put a video up of this jar. But I grew cucumbers, and there was one that I was making pickles, and I was making pickle wedges, and it had 2 quart jars. The tomato was the cucumber was so big, I cut it in half. Okay, and 1/2 of the cucumber completely filled up the quart jar. Like when I say filled up, I had to shave it down a little bit on the sides to get it through the wide mouth at the top. It was that big around.
Wow.
1 cucumber, and it completely filled up 2 quart jars. I gave one to my brother. I got one downstairs in the basement.
I've grown a couple like that. I usually do really well with cucumbers. My tomatoes, I can grow them if they make it past the rabbits.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about aquaponics. If you're going to do aquaponics and you're going to have a fruiting plant, like, anything that's going to suck up that moisture, like cucumbers, any kind of melons, tomatoes, they're gonna need some nutrition from the fish. So if you're running too many fish in your system, like I was, like the size system I had, I shouldn't have had no more than 30 fish in there. I had about 150, and I didn't lose any when I got it primed. But I had extra filters that I built, and I was running high nutrient plants, like like a shitload of tomato plants, just so that way it was filtering the water for the fish.
Right.
But it's something that you can play with if you do the system. It's pretty fun. I mean, you can find all kind of ways to tweak it, and you can do things people say you can't do. Well, you can if you get creative. It just depends on how much you want to put into it.
I'm stocking seeds now. Hard time on bush beans and crookneck squash. That's what I got at Home Depot. Independent Marine was the bush beans. And they actually make the seed packets resealable now with a Ziploc top. How awesome is that? And why did it take them all these decades to do that? That should have been day one.
Like my whole long-term plan as far as gardening goes. I mean, I'm big on potatoes because I mean the entire nation of Ireland lived on nothing but potatoes forever. So I mean, potatoes are very important. But every year when I grow something, say if you're using your seed vault and you're growing some crookneck squash or melons or anything, is to take one of those fruits aside and save the seeds every single year, put them up the correct way and label them, because the longer you store seeds, they're going to go bad eventually. They're going to lose their germination rate. So always try to get you some fresh seed, set aside where you can rotate and make sure you get a good germination rate. Because if you just rely on that seed bank, because I got one packet I got and it must have 15,000 seeds in it. It'll take me years to go through 15,000 seeds. But if those are the only seeds I use on year 10, they may all just stop germinating if I don't put up seeds.
Right on. Thank you, Blue Vandal. Appreciate that. It's had a great live stream tonight.
I did comb my beard, so I wanted to make it look as pretty as possible.
Oh, I knew you had to be an awesome prepper just by the beard. Let's see. So while I'm looking for, I'll go ask you like a basic prepper question.
Okay.
Like SHTF, it hits the fan. Are you just hell bent? You're going to hold down the fort and go down with it, or do you have a plan to bug out if it,
Well, here's the thing, and if you saw my bugging out videos, I've already covered this a little bit. Before you do anything in the prepping life or anything in your life in general, nothing to do with prepping, you have to take an inventory of yourself. What are you capable of? What are you willing to do? What are you physically able to do? What are you mentally able to do? And the things that are holding you back. Myself personally, I have family members that live with me that are immunocompromised. They're up in age that I take care of. That's why in my video I say I already bugged out. I bugged out from a county in Florida with a population of between 600 and 700,000 people. Now I'm in a county of a population with less than 40,000 people. All right, so my population density went from way up here to way down here. I've got a renewable water supply. I'm very rural. I got a basement. If I had a checklist of 10 things I needed to have a bug out location, this spot's got 9 of them.
Good deal.
So now, if I had to bug out, like I've heard people say, well, if your house is on fire, you got to bug out. Or if your house is on fire, you're not bugging out. Okay, you're evacuating. There's a big fucking difference. You're evacuating, and now you're a refugee. Now, is it good to have a bug out location? Absolutely. Do I have one? Yes, I do. But if you're going to bug out and it's a SHTF situation, well, you need to bug out before it really hits the fan, before the juicy, wet, runny stuff hits the fan. The chunky stuff, the early part, you can get out. Juicy, wet, runny stuff, they've already shut down all the arteries. You're not driving anywhere. Right. So unless you bug out locations within, a couple of miles of your house and you can hump all the stuff you need and you can defend it better than where you are, eventually, if it goes down the road that a lot of people think, the whole apocalypse road, eventually you're going to have to stop and turn around and fight.
Yeah, so, you can't run forever.
Can't run forever. So if you're going to keep depleting your resources, depleting your energy and your ability to fight, if they can just keep in their vehicles following you around till you're wore out, what's the point in bugging? If you're going to put up a fight, put up the best fight you possibly can. Is my place defensible? Yes, my place is very defensible. I've got several rings around it, buffer zones, I call them, of other places. There's one way to get into my house. There's one street. There's one way in and one way out. So if I don't know your vehicle and it's post SHTF, that vehicle ain't leaving. It's going to be a yard ornament, and period. There's no reason for you to come down to my street. You don't come down the street. And if it's after SHTF, it's not like you're out riding around looking for real estate. You're here for a reason. You're here for the wrong reason.
Yep.
Can I defend the place? Absolutely. Do I want to? No. I want to go as low key, below the radar as possible.
Absolutely.
The leaves are falling. It was fall. I purposely did not rake my yard. Everybody else in the neighborhood did. My yard looks like shit on purpose. I'm not going to change that. I'm not trimming the hedges. I want it to look abandoned, like nobody's here, just in case it got stupid before, at the earlier time, it's just, plus I'm strategically located in an area where there are other low hanging fruit really, really close to here. And the low hanging fruit's going to draw the attention. So, and my bottom line, and a lot of you guys might disagree with me, a lot of you will, but it makes sense to me, is if it's just a group of marauders that have banded together because they're starving to death, let's look at this logically. If they're running out of food, It's a band of marauders. None of them know each other. They're just a bunch of bullies trying to get some stuff for free. They're going to come up into my place. They don't know the floor plan of my house. They've got to get to the front door. Nobody's getting to my front door, period. You'll need a vehicle to get through my front door, period. The way the house is set up, bottom line. Windows are your next logical way in, and I've got a plan for that too. But the thing is, if it's an unorganized group of marauders just coming to steal some stuff because they need some food, think about it logically. They're already depleted energy-wise. They're desperate. Now they're going house to house. Wound a couple of them. Make them hurt really bad and watch what happens. It's not an organized military force. It's not their job to do this. They're doing it because they're hurting and they're starving and they need some food. So if they're going to start losing people, they're trying to stay alive. So if they know there's a really, really good chance they're going to get whacked, they're going to go to the next house on the street. And I hate to say it, I'd put it on my neighbors, but they're not coming in. You know, drop a couple. Don't necessarily kill them, wound them real bad.
Right.
And if it's an organized military or paramilitary force, whether it be the blue helmets or anything else, and they're coming in, whether it be SWAT, if there's still a police force or whatever, they've got APCs, they've got armored personnel carriers. If they're rolling into your house, specifically your house, roll up the white flag, walk outside, ask them how you make your reservation at the Walmart parking lot, because you don't stand a chance. Accept that. Either go out in a blaze of glory, or bug out to your tent city in the woods. I mean, it's your choice. That's one of the main reasons why I want to just float under the radar and not draw any attention. But if it is an organized paramilitary force coming into my neighborhood, they've literally got to drive by a lot of houses to get to here. They've got to make a lot of the correct turns to get to here. And they've got to drive through a kill box. The only way they're getting to my house is they've got to clear every other house to get here. They've got to go through a valley of nothing but brick homes and rednecks. Okay? No way you're getting here. And I don't even know these people, but I know where I live, and I know the people that live in North Carolina, and I know the views of these people in this area. If you're coming in this neighborhood, that means you got to clear the neighborhood, and you're going to clear door by door, room by room, house by house, the same way we did in Iraq. Yeah. You're not going to drive through the neighborhood and start at the last house. It ain't going to happen that way. So there's going to be plenty of warning. There's going to be a lot of noise, and that's just the way it's going to be. But if it's an organized group that's coming down, they're going to be making all kinds of noise. So I've got options as far as bugging out. But that's my views on it. I mean, bugging out to me is a state of mind. I mean, if you get your head right, and eventually you're going to have to turn and fight. I've decided this place where I'm at right now is 1,000 times better than the place I was. So it's a step up.
And I figure too, once you do bug out, I mean, they can see you no matter where you're at.
When you bug out, your option.
You think you might be hidden, but they can see you at any given time, anytime they want to. Uh-oh. Did you freeze up?
Am I still here?
Yeah.
It went dark.
It froze up for a couple seconds.
Weird. But you can't bug out after the sticky stuff's on your face. It's too late.
Right.
To me, you bug out before. The whole plan to me of bugging out is putting yourself in a better position to survive, not a last option to do the best you can. I've got 9 out of 10 strikes on my list here at my location. If I leave here, no matter where I go, it drops down to 6, maybe 4.
Right. That's the way we are here, man. We got, on-site well. And we don't use it right now. We're on city water right now, but it's a clean well. It's never went dry. I know it's drinkable. So, I mean, literally the town would have to be burning down around us before I even thought about leaving our home. And that's just...
Well, I've heard people say, oh, when it hits the fan, everybody from the cities is going to come to the country. No, they're not. Those people, the city dwellers, the high-rise lovers, they're not coming to the country. They're not coming. That's coming to the country from the city of New York or Charlotte or that's like going to Mars without a spacesuit. Right. Coming out here. Now, there's going to be some on the outskirts that are going to flee and run and come by, but it's not going to be in the millions. I'd say 80% of those city dwellers that are spoiled rotten, they're going to go straight to that Walmart parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to check in and get their 3 squares and their little cot and complain. Yep. I mean, they're used to they order the food, online every day to deliver that. They don't cook. They don't know any of that stuff. They're not coming out here. Are you crazy? That's stupid. Now there's going to be some people that do come in, but not a lot. I mean, can you imagine how stressful it would be? How much focus it would take for you, and you're starving, and you decide to go break into somebody's house, a house that you have no idea what the floor plan is, and a house that whoever's occupying it, they know shit's hit the fan too. So it's not like you're surprising them. Okay.
All right.
Imagine how and people have asked me, do you have motion detector lights on your perimeter that light up when somebody comes? No, absolutely not. I don't want them to know that I know that they're there.
All right.
If my light goes off when you're 100 yards from my house, now I know you're coming. Wouldn't it be a better choice to have that same system wired up to where a little red light goes off in my house to let me know the perimeter's been breached, and you don't know that I know you're there?
Absolutely.
Now I've got you dead to rights. When you come in on the perimeter, the close-in lights light you up, and boom, I'm going to drop you right there, 50, 60, 80, 100 yards from the house. Absolutely. It's great to put on a show when you need to, but when you're in the middle of nowhere and there's no lights, you're going to light it up? Come on. Now you're in for the long haul. Now you're in for the fight.
Just a second. My chat flew by again. Okay. I think I'm caught up now. Hey, Mojo, man. I didn't see you come in. Good to see you, buddy. Kip Steve.
Mojo.
How you doing? Jerry Robbins, Blue Ridge Mountains, checking in. Howdy, y'all. Hey, Jerry Robbins, good to have you. Thanks for stopping by. Looking for anybody got any more questions? We're going to have to wrap this up. It's already after 9. Prepper Nation's live at 9, and I think he's still live tonight. Have you heard if John's live tonight?
I haven't.
I didn't even see a premiere set up, I don't think.
I don't know if he is or not. Somebody in this chat will probably know.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will know. Hey, Prepper Book Club. Good to see you. Greg Lowry. Good to see you. Okay, they're saying yes, he is.
He is? Yeah, I don't want to step on his toes.
No, me neither. He was nice enough to help get me where I'm at. I don't want to,
Good people.
It's
Well,
9:02, so I'll take till 9:05. If anybody has got a couple questions for Ghost Prepper, I think this has been a great show, man. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
I've had a blast, brother. Had a blast. We'll do it again sometime.
Oh, definitely.
And don't forget, at 10 o'clock, I'm going on with Jess at Keto Homestead.
Okay.
10 o'clock, I'm going on with her to talk about canning, I believe.
Does she open hers up? Like after a while, does she open up to people come in, or is it just strictly you tonight, or do you know?
Honestly, I don't know. We set it up late last night, and I'm not really sure how she does it. I haven't caught one of her videos where she does an interview.
I haven't either.
I was just awesome, because the whole pajama party was awesome. So
I gotta go back. SoFlo said he had okay. Sorry, I looked right past it.
Ghost, what is that one thing you lack, and would you name those 10 things you would want? The one thing I lack is medical. I wish I had a lot more medical supplies than I do, and I wish I was a lot more confident in the medical field. And name the 10 things you would want. The 10 things I would want over and above what I have. I would want more knowledge, more time to get the things that I want, food, a well, more freedom seats. I wish that I love North Carolina, don't get me wrong. I love this location where I was at, but I would rather be in the Ozarks, definitely in the Ozarks. An actual mag, I don't have one of those yet. It's kind of hard to meet new people in a new neighborhood in the middle of the pandemic, so I wish there was actually a mag, but I've got a plan for that coming up in the future. I'm going to make a video about that. And I wish I'd have started my YouTube channel about 2 years ago.
Yeah, you've got the knowledge to share, man. I'm
I
really,
appreciate it. Yes.
I'm really looking forward to having you on again and catching up on your videos.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know, and I don't just do the food and stuff like that. I do the tactical, the whole nine. You know, I was an infantry soldier, 11 Bravo, straight leg in the Army for 2 tours. So
Well,
I'm
thank
not a hero. I
you.
don't have any crazy medals, or I'm not a superhero, none of that stuff. I just, you know, I did what I did.
Hoot Owl Holler asks, how old is Ghost Prepper?
Ghost Prepper is 50, almost 52.
So Flow Prepper, thanks at Papa and at Ghost. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming, man. I've really enjoyed the show. Cass Richmond, another great live. Thanks for the useful knowledge. Love y'all. Love you too. Thank you very much.
I enjoyed it.
Um, Regina Morgan subbed Ghost Prepper. I hope. I mean, I'm telling you guys, you won't regret subbing to his channel. I mean, you've heard him in this just an hour. I mean, I know he's sitting on a lot more than what he's telling us. I know he's got it to share. So
Yeah, I got stuff in my brain. Yeah, anybody that subs to me, I sub right back. When I get the alert, I don't care if you got nothing on your channel, I sub right back. Fair is fair.
thank you, Northern Girl. She said, great stream. Metal for breakfast says, I'm 52, and that's why we have great beards.
Yeah, that's one thing I can grow is a beard. This thing's about 3.5 months old, maybe 4.
That's it.
Yeah, man, it grows fast. It grows really
Wow.
fast, super fast. Well, I started it September, so it's 5, maybe 6.
Jerry Robbins says, I thought about joining the military when I was young, but joined the Air Force instead.
That's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
That's great, man.
Thank you, Mrs. Papa Prepper. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'll take all the subs I can get.
All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and shut this down so y'all can head over to John's. I got to go take an Arkansas, then I'll probably go over to John's and check it out for a little bit too. Don't forget, Gray Man has merch. And anything else to throw in there?
I'm good, man. No, I appreciate you having me. This hour flew by. I could have went for another 3 or 4.
It went really quick. But I will catch y'all next time. God bless each and every one of y'all. I love you. Papa Prepper out.